this is Carla and welcome back to the studio and thank you for joining me for another episode of Throwback Thursday. So for this Thursday I am featuring another product medley that Stampin' Up! Had a few years ago. This one is called Flowering Cactus. Now these weren't really so much considered as a kit because there were no instructions included in it. This was more like I would say like what our sweet collections are today, where it's just a grouping of different products that coordinate together, and then you just use your creativity just to create whatever is in the box. So let me show you what's in this box. So first we have a stamp set, a photopolymer stamp set that has some of the cactus images and some greetings. And then there's coordinating dies. Now I did cut out the image from the whole product medley to put in with my dies so I could see everything that's in this collection. So I will bring in the rest of it and give you a better look at what was in it. So everything would come into a little Ziploc bag like this. And inside of this, we had some felt pieces that are in Highland Heather and Calypso Coral. And these are just little pieces of flowers that you can just pop out and use in your projects. Put that aside. Also in here, there's a 2-pack of some linen thread in our natural color that you can still get in our annual catalog now. And then there was also a roll of the twine in Calypso Coral. I'll put that aside. And then also in this pack is 6x6 paper. There are 48 sheets in this pack. Now this top one here that you're looking at, this one you can use as is, or you can actually use the dies that are in this die set that coordinate with the images in this paper. Now on my second card, I will be using some of these images to put my card together. But other than that, these papers have all these different patterns. There are 8 sheets per pattern. So that is one side. And then on the other side, you have more of a backdrop type image. And the colors in this pack of paper, we have Pear, Pizzazz, Mossy, Meadow, Highland Heather, and we got Calypso Coral, and then there's also Mint Macaron as well. So with that, let's go ahead and get started on our first card. Now, I have not yet taken out my stamp, but on this one, I'll be using this one here that says, "Hope your birthday is filled with beautiful things." I will actually be using this greeting on both of my cards. And then I'm also going to use a smaller cactus image along with these 2 flowers. Now the stamp with the 2 flowers on it are actually one stamp, so it's nice that you can stamp them at the same time. And then the dies themselves are also connected as well, so you can easily die cut those as well. So let me pull out my 3 stamps, and then let me bring out all my pieces from my first card here. And actually, I want a little confession here, guys, that I want to give you. So last night, yesterday I finished designing the cards that I was going to do for my Thursday video. And I made the mistake and tried to rush in getting it done and record it Wednesday night to then try and get it edited and posted and scheduled on YouTube for today, Thursday morning. Well, we were also expecting some severe weather, so of course I was trying to rush to get it all done. And I was proud of myself. I got it all recorded and I figured, okay, I can kind of do my simple editing in my phone and then go and do all the editing and upload it at least, this morning. However, I got it recorded, and when I went to do the simple little bit of editing, I thought, okay, one of my clips, I had my fan on and I didn't know if that would have been loud, in the video. Well, in the process of listening to it, I realized, well, I had my little adapter piece in my phone to use my microphone, and I didn't turn the microphone on. So the whole entire video, there was no sound to it at all. Now I know that there have been other demos that have done videos and they do a voiceover on them. However, I do not know how to do that. So here I am starting it. I had to pre-cut everything all over again. So we're starting all over again. So here we go. So to start off, I have a piece of Mossy Meadow. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4.25. I have a piece of Pear Pizzazz. This measures 5.25 by 4. I have a piece of that flowering Cactus DSP. This measures 5 by 2.5. And then I have another piece that measures 3 by 2.5. And then I have two pieces of basic white that are just scraps. So I'm going to start off with folding and burnishing my card base. And I'm going to set that aside. And actually I got my fan in my way, so let me just quickly move that out of my way so I can get to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, and then for this piece of Pear Pizzazz, I am going to emboss that using the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. Now this is a retired embossing folder, but I do like the subtle embossing that it does. So I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to do all of my die cutting and my embossing at the same time. So I'll put that aside. And I'll take these two pieces of DSP, put those aside because those will go on top of the Pear Pizzazz. And then for these two pieces of the basic white, on the larger piece, I'm going to be bringing in the Stylish Shapes dies. Now these dies did carry over. They are in our new catalog. And I'm going to use this square die to die cut this. Now I'll be stamping on this piece, but I want to die cut it first. So I'll set that aside. And then on this piece, I'm going to bring in this double flower image and my Calypso Coral ink. And I'm going to stamp this twice on my cardstock, like so. And we'll set that aside. And then let me bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Let me pull it. Oh, actually, boo. Let me bring in the dies for that first. Being a little bit out of sorts here. Okay, so here's the die for that. You can see that the two flowers are on there so that you can do two passes to cut those all out. I'm going to set those dies aside because I'm going to be using those on the next card. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'm going to do the embossing and the die cutting, and I'll be right back. Okay, so let me bring in all of my pieces here. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to take this embossed piece and I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Seal, and I'm also going to bring in my silicone craft sheet. So with this adhesive, depending on how you end it when you stop rolling it, sometimes your adhesive may not be right at the very edge here. So what happens, your adhesive's back here, so it's not going to go on your cardstock. So just by running it a little bit on a silicone craft sheet, it'll bring that adhesive up to the tip of that. Or you can just, roll it with your finger, but I find just using the silicone craft sheet works better. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to center it onto my card base. So, and then I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of this piece. So the storms that came through here last night didn't seem to be as bad as expected, but north of us and towards Nashville and all that, they did get some severe weather up there by them. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to kind of center it so there's an even border behind it of that embossed Pear Pizzazz piece. Do that like so. And then I'm going to take this other piece here. Add some adhesive there. And then on this one, I'm going to place this one off to the right and try to have like an equal amount of distance from the top and the bottom, like so. Okay, let me set this aside. Now on this piece here, I'm going to bring in my greeting and my Mossy Meadow ink. And I'm going to stamp my greeting again. It says, "Hope your birthday is filled with beautiful things." And ink this up. And I'm going to stamp this right in the bottom corner. I'm going to put my silicone craft sheet underneath so that way I can see my die cut piece here. I'll stamp that. And then I'm going to bring in my Pear Pizzazz. And then this little small cactus, I'm going to stamp this twice. I'm going to stamp one right over here. And then I'm going to stamp another one right over here. Okay, and then I'll close this up. That's all the stamping that will do. And then I'm going to take this piece, add some adhesive. This is that one dispenser that with the refill on it. For some reason I'm getting that stringy, and I don't know what that exactly is from, but I'm almost done with this refill in this dispenser. So once it's done, then I won't have to worry about this anymore. It is kind of annoying. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to add this right about here, like so. And then I'm going to take these flowers that I stamped and I die cut, and I'm going to bring in my dimensionals. So I'm going to take two of my larger ones and I'm going to place those in the middle here of my larger flowers. And then I'm going to bring in my mini ones and my take your pick tool. And I'm going to grab one and place that in the center of the back of my flowers. Okay. And then I'm going to add these. Take this one. We'll place this one right here. And a small one. Add this one right here. And then on this other one, place one here. And then our last one, we'll put over on this side over here. Now I'm also going to bring in my Wink of Stella. And I'm going to add some to my flowers. And do this one. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in this Calypso Coral linen thread. And I'm going to make a double bow. So let me grab my scissors. It's okay. So we're going to so we don't need our loops very big. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to take this and we're going to trim this so they're all even. And then I'm going to bring in my glue dot. And I take your pick tool and I'm going to add one right down here. And these glue dots are just simply leftovers from past paper pumpkin kits. And I'm going to take my bow and I'm going to add that right there. And then another thing that I'm going to bring in that is retired are the Champagne Rhinestone Basic Jewels. And this sheet has just some of the smaller ones on there. So I'm going to go and use these up. So I'm going to add one here. And I'll add another one over here. And then one more right down here. Okay, so that is our first card. On to our second. Okay, so for my second card, I have a piece of Highland Tether. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. I have a piece of mint macaron. This measures 5 1/4 by 4. And just like with my last card, I'm going to use that same, Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder for this piece. So I will set that aside. I have a piece of that flowering Cactus DSP. This measures 4 by 1. I'll set that aside. And then I have a scrap piece of basic white, and I am going to use another stylish shape to cut this one out. This time I'm going to use this stitch circle. So I'm going to set that aside because we'll die cut first and then stamp. And then I have a scrap of Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to die cut this cactus piece from the flowering cactus dies. So I'm going to set that aside. And then from that one piece of the DSP that had the images on it, so these are the pieces that I just trimmed out of the paper. And there are coordinating dies in the set of dies to die cut this. So I'm going to die cut this one here. And then for this cactus, there's this die here. And then for this larger bit of flowers, I'll die cut that. And then we have one more die that will cut out this flower right here. So I'll start off and I'll just go ahead and I will fold and burnish this. Okay. And I will then go ahead, put this aside, and I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'll be right back. Okay, so let me bring in all of my pieces here. So I am going to take this embossed piece of the mint macaron, and I'm going to add some adhesive to this. And I'm going to put that on my base and remove that little stringy piece of adhesive. This isn't cut right. Not cut right. So let me bring in my little trimmer. So this is supposed to be 4. Of course, I got adhesive. No, I don't. No, that's not right. Measured right there. It needs to be 5 1/4. So let me bring in my bigger Velveteen paper trimmer. And let me trim this down. Hopefully I don't completely mess up my trimmer. So it needs to be... Okay, hold on a second. Is this not wide enough? This is why. Okay, my card base isn't big enough, so let me bring in another piece of Highland Heather. And let me cut this in half since I'm only making 1 card. So I'm only going to use half of it. So I'm going to cut this at 5 1/2. And then let me go and quickly score this at 4 1/4. I have my my paper trimmer right on the other side of me here. So, okay, so now it's measured right. Fold and burnish this. And then we'll go ahead and adhere this. We'll center this like so. And then on this piece of DSP, I'm going to add some seal to the back of this. And I'm going to add this piece about here and go straight across. Like so. Okay, and then on these larger cactuses, I'm going to bring in my dimensionals. I'm going to add some to the back of this. And then I'm going to add a few to the back of this one. Like so. And we'll set those aside. And then on these other pieces, I'm going to add some adhesive to this. And I'll set that one aside. And then also on the backs of these flowers. We'll just set those aside and hopefully don't get all stuck on each other. Okay, just set that aside. Okay, then on this circle here, what I want to do is I'm going to stamp the very same greeting that I used before, and I'm going to bring in my Calypso Coral ink. And what I want to do is I want to kind of line this up as to how I want it on my card. No, actually I can do this. I made enough of these cards now that I think I can do this with confidence that I can stamp this in the right area of my circle. I'm going to ink this up really well. And I'm going to stamp this right up in this corner here. Like so. And then I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of this. Again, get rid of some of this stringy stuff. Okay. So I'm going to just set that aside for a moment. And I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to lay these down right about here. And then I'm just using that kind of like as a placeholder just so I know where to place this. Place this kind of like right here. Like so, and kind of get that straight. Okay, and then my other cactus, it actually looks like a pickle rather than a cactus. Just saying. And I'm going to place this one right over my white circle. And then I'm going to remove the paper backings off of my heart-shaped cactus. And I'm going to place that. And I got hair. We don't want that in our card. No, that's not hair. That's that adhesive. And I can't seem to get off my hands. So I'm going to place this right here. Like so. And then my other cactus, I'm going to place over here. This one right over here like so. And then these flowers that I put my adhesive on, I'm going to place one right over here. And then this one I'm going to place right over here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Wink of Stella and I'm just going to add some onto these flowers. And this one over here. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my glue dots again. And let me see something really quick. Okay, I'm going to take, where's my take a pick tool? I'm going to take this glue dot and I'm going to add this one right here. And I'll remove the backing off of that. And I'm going to place that there and I'm going to create another double looped bow. Let me trim this. Put that aside. Okay, and then just make these a little bit smaller. Okay, and then we'll trim these so they're even. Okay, and then I'm going to glue that down, and then I'm going to bring in these champagne rhinestones, and I'm going to add a few onto here. So I'll place one right there, another one right up here, and then we'll place one, oops, stuck to my finger, place one right down there. Move this one up a little bit more. Okay, so there is our second card. This one just utilizes that DSP. So let me bring in the first card that we made. This one we utilized the paper and we did some stamping and die cutting for that one, along with using the paper and die cutting those pieces as well. So again, I apologize everyone that this video didn't get posted earlier today on Thursday. Usually I schedule them to post at 5 a.m. but as I mentioned earlier in the video, yeah, there was some technical difficulties that I had and I kind of chalked that up to trying to rush and get done before we would get hit with the storms and all that. So I'm still getting this posted here on Thursday, just a little bit later in the day. So if you like these projects and you like the cards, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It not only helps me in building my YouTube channel, but it also helps me in getting myself out there and building my Stampin' Up! Business. So I will see you tomorrow night, Friday, May 10th, and that will be my Friday Night Live. Right now, last minute, I'm still planning out on what I'm going to be using for tomorrow night because I have to go with stuff that's current, that's in our new catalog. So since I don't have a whole lot of stuff from it, I have to kind of utilize what had carried over. So until then, everyone, be safe if you're in areas where you're experiencing nasty weather. I'm praying for your safety. And until tomorrow night, everyone, have a blessed one. Bye bye.